Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week.
Hello. We're back with part two.
Yeah, I almost forgot that this was a two-parter. If you're listening to this one and this is like the first one, maybe go back a week because this is going to be a continuation of what we were talking about last week.
Yes.
Um, I mean, if you're familiar with the case and everything, you probably won't need that much of
Yeah.
rehash, but it would be helpful.
Yeah. I find it helpful, especially like going through and editing everything to then like write notes and everything. I found it helpful.
Okay.
So I highly suggest going back and listening to it. But
Yeah.
if not, I'll give you a brief recap of our timeline for everything.
Oh, yes. Please do.
Starting June 17th, 2021, Gabby and Brian left from Florida up to Blue Point, New York, which was for her brother's graduation. From there, they kicked off their road trip starting July 2nd and heading west as they could go almost. Going through different national parks in the southwestern region, hitting up like Utah, Colorado, parts of, I want to say, Nevada, California, heading up to the Wyoming area.
And just to clarify again, this was just like a recreational trip. They weren't doing anything specific. She was wasn't she kind of an influencer? She had been like starting an Instagram.
She was doing
career,
an
sort of
Instagram, YouTube career for van living. Brian was huge in sustainability, that kind of grouping pairing.
Okay, right. So the trip was sort of intended to be like maybe a launch point for them building more of an Instagram career, but they didn't have a specific goal necessarily.
Yeah.
They were just kind of meandering the country.
Yes, hitting up some of the various parks and just kind of having a good time. And
I mean,
lots of camping.
Like a good trip.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty good trip for the most part.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the concept of the trip in general sounds great. Seems like the execution suffered a bit.
Yeah. In August, on the 12th, that was when the famous 911 call outside of Moonflower Co-op in Moab happened. And that's with like the body cam footage, all of that. On August 17th, Brian flew back to Florida from Salt Lake City and left Gabby in Salt Lake for like a week. Came back on the 23rd. They reunited. On August 25th, this was the last time Gabby spoke on the phone with her mom. And the same day she had the kind of odd Halloween butterfly post on her Instagram. On the 27th, this was the odd message from Gabby to her mom about helping Stan, who is her grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's all coming back now.
Yeah, and they're kind of like, why the hell would she be doing that? Like that was kind of they're like becoming suspicious of like what she wouldn't. One, that doesn't seem like something she would just sort of do out of the blue, and she wouldn't call him Stan. And they're like, is this even her texting?
Yes. On August 30th, that was the message of no service in Yosemite. And then September 1st, Brian returned to Florida.
Alone.
On September 6th through 7th, that is when him and his family did their camping trip in DeSoto National Park.
Right.
On the 11th, that is when Gabby's parents filed a missing persons report for her after finding out Brian had been back since the 1st without her and having not heard from her since the 23rd. September 13th is when the police started surveilling the Laundrie's home. The 15th is when his parents hired a lawyer. And then the 17th, which brings us up to where we ended off last time, is when Brian was reported missing and police obtained search warrants for obtaining the van, hard drives, and a few other items, along with one of their family's vehicles.
Wow.
Yes.
So in a relatively short amount of time,
a lot happens.
A lot happens. She disappears. He looks like an absolute weirdo. The rest of his family starts looking like weirdos. Then he disappears, and the FBI is like, we should, or was it the FBI?
It was a mix of the local police and the FBI, just because of how big it got. Then the FBI got involved.
Yeah, because they were traveling across state lines and stuff, and they went to a lot of places. We should probably look into this.
When it starts to cross state lines, and it is something that is so big, that is usually when the FBI will get involved, because then instead of staying on the state level where different areas aren't necessarily communicating with each other, it'll then bring it up to that federal level where everyone has a handle on everything.
Well, that pretty much brings us up to date then.
Yeah. So I wish I had more information about Brian. All I have that I could find was his birthday, which is November 18th, 1997.
Oh, wow.
And that was it.
And that was it.
That was it.
Quick episode. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
That was fun.
There just wasn't really tons of information out there about him, other than him in connection to everything that happens with this case. And that being said, I do want to share my sources with you because I do think some of the names of these are funny.
Okay.
So I looked at rightlawgroup.com, LEUtahGov, Wikipedia for a continuation from one of the articles from last week, The Sun, and my favorite, reallifevillains.com. Or sorry, .org.
.org. Well, they're a nonprofit. They just want to get the word out about villains. They're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts.
I'll have to show you like the profile and stuff they create on it, because it's actually quite funny, but I feel that will be best at the end of the episode versus right now.
That's fair. Well, and that kind of brings us to our pairing for this week. Yeah. Last week we wanted to do kind of a tribute to Gabby herself. We had fresh things going on, and this week the story is so monstrous, and he is especially
a monster
as the villain. Yeah. We're going with what I'm calling monster bombs, which are your basic Jägermeister bomb, or Jäg bomb as the kids say, but specifically with Monster energy drink. And it's working out pretty well. I haven't had a Jäg bomb in probably a decade, and it is just how I remember it.
Yeah.
And we're pairing that with, and it's also kind of fitting as we're like getting into Halloween season. I could not find monster cookies anywhere. That was the plan, but like so many things, I didn't do my research on where I could get them.
These guys.
Ooh.
Mini Keebler monster cookies, as I am calling them, although they name them Chip Deluxe Minis, made with M&Ms.
Nice.
But they're monster cookies, so.
I ended up getting just some kind of homemade style chocolate chip cookie, and then some kind of sugar cookies that are like Halloween themed, and they didn't have any that had like monsters on them, but that. It's cookies and Jäg bombs. It's hard to go wrong.
But I like the whole overarching monster theme. I don't drink Monster a ton, so I didn't know what any of the flavors were, so I just picked one. And it's actually pretty good.
That's the one you got? That's not the one I'm using right now. I'm using their, oh my god, the things, there we go. Ultra Gold.
A little closer. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But Lily bought a big pack of them at Sam's Club, and they're like a 3-pack. So I've had the pink ones. They're very good. It
is good. I was not sure how the pairing with the Jaeger would go, but it's actually pretty good.
Sweet. Yeah, it's, well, and traditionally it's supposed to be Red Bull, I think.
I think so.
But what energy drink, they all kind of sort of tang to them, so
yeah,
it seems to be working fine.
Yeah.
And Monster fits the theme, so there you go.
Yeah. Got a little monster theme for our monster human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that out of the way, where are we picking up, or like where are we starting today?
So I want to go back and revisit the body cam footage for a hot minute.
Okay.
Because in talking with my brother-in-law about his experience in working in law enforcement, I forget that we have drastically different laws in each state.
Oh,
to a degree.
I don't know if I was aware of. Specifically dealing with body cam footage, you mean? Specifically
dealing with domestic disputes, actually.
Oh, okay.
So weird. I was talking to him about just work in general and like how his day was going. And he was telling me how something he finds really funny is that when he gets called for a domestic dispute in the state of Colorado specifically, we have mandated arrest laws for domestic situations. So if there's any sort of probable cause that some form of domestic violence has occurred, someone has to be arrested.
Interesting.
And it's to kind of force the separation and to also like, I think the idea is that like you're not letting the perpetrator get away with it, but that doesn't necessarily come out black and white in these situations. But
exactly, yeah.
He always thinks it's funny because he'll have, and this doesn't happen quite as often, but he'll have like the person who is like the perpetrator call, thinking that because they're the ones that called, they can't get arrested, which is not true. If there's enough suspicion that you are causing the problem here, you're the one leaving in the backseat of the car.
Right, yeah, you're the one spending a night somewhere else.
Yeah, so Utah doesn't have this, which I found interesting in this situation, because even though they still separated them, no one was arrested for it, and there like was a charge made in a way, but then like Brian could go to the police station and like have it waived essentially.
Right. So there's still like a record of the cops having gone out there, but there's nothing on his record.
Yeah.
Right. Like it doesn't count as him being arrested.
Yeah, it doesn't for either of them. It doesn't count as either of them being arrested, which I feel like was kind of interesting because I mean, I don't know if it would have helped in this case or not. There's no real way to know.
Right.
But considering some of the other things that happen at the end of the tape, I just, in all honesty, don't know what the Utah police for this situation specifically were doing.
Yeah.
And one of them is that Brian was lying to them. And very much like, in a sense, was caught in this lie, but then like nobody picked up on it.
Yeah, and they just kind of, it seemed like they sort of sided with him just because he was a bro in a weird way.
Yeah, and for me, that didn't really sit well with me watching it. But at the beginning of it, he was telling him how like he doesn't have a cell phone. If something happened, if they had a fight and she left with the van, like he'd be kind of shit out of luck because he doesn't have a phone. So he like couldn't call to get a ride somewhere or like find a way home.
Yeah.
And he like kept saying how he doesn't have a phone. And then like 40 minutes later, as they were separated, he pulls out his cell phone from his pocket and like gives his cell phone number to the police to contact him. And like
that's insane.
Get their contact info, but like, you know, he didn't have a phone.
Right. Well, maybe it was her phone. He had it in his pocket. He forgot about it.
Well, she had her phone with her.
Oh, damn.
When they separated. So like it wasn't hers.
Okay. Shit.
when they did separate them, Gabby was like, well, like, make sure he has his charger so he can charge his phone. Like, his charger's in the car, like, make sure he brings it with him. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And I'm like, how did you not pick up on that he, like, very blatantly and very casually, like, lied about having a cell phone with him? Like, how is that not like a, hey, wait a minute, you lied to us about this. What else are you lying to us about, potentially?
And he made that such a big enough point while they were talking to him that it should have been something of a glaring red flag
like,
when he pulls out this cell phone. Yeah. I thought you said, what the fuck is this? Oh, this is just it's not really a cell phone.
It's just, but it's like my cell phone, but it's not. I don't understand how nobody noticed it in the moment.
Yeah, that is kind of a big hole.
Yeah. Those are my big contentions about that. And since we did talk about it a lot the first time, I don't want to like go back and like rehash everything.
That makes sense.
But it's those little things, because we did not touch on that last time, that the laws are different, and that because of that, sometimes it may or may not help a situation, but there's really no way to clearly tell until the aftermath, because hindsight is 2020.
Well, and I do see how, like, if he had been arrested, like, because they, like you said, they still did separate them, but he would have essentially been under their observation like the whole time, or he had at least been in custody. Yeah, it does seem like a big misstep on their part.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of like who would have been arrested in the situation, one of them would have been in custody and would have been observed a bit more closely, so that if either of them were acting in a different way, they would have actually noticed it.
Right.
Or like, maybe in Gabby's situation, if she had been the one arrested, like maybe she would have felt safer saying like, no, like he's really awful to me.
Yeah, or maybe there's something, maybe she had scars or bruises that they would have noticed.
Yeah.
Or like, they might have even brought her into custody and someone else might have noticed something that they didn't pick up on. Yeah, she would have at least been under a bit more scrutiny than just out in the field with like the two or however many police officers.
Yeah, and I can't personally say whether or not having a mandated arrest law for domestic violence is beneficial or not. I feel like in some situations it can help, and in others maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It does seem weird. You were talking about how like if they get a call, they just know immediately like, well, we're bringing someone back to jail tonight.
Yeah,
like we're going out on this call. Someone's coming back with us. Yeah,
it is. I want to say 99% of the time when they get those calls, they're like, well, someone's coming back. And, oh, well, I guess that, and it is very much on like a case by case basis, but I do find it very ironic that people will call and be like, but I'm the one that called. Like, why are you taking me back? And it's like, because these three people over here are saying you beat this other person.
Like, right. You don't have a scratch on you, and they've got a bloody nose and a broken wrist. Like, a few slash marks here and there. Weird. That is so weird. But you were being assaulted? Huh.
You were attacked, yeah.
Well, we're going to bring you back, and we're really going to examine your story real close this time.
Yeah. So, moving forward in our timeline, what happens once Gabby is missing? Going back to the 13th, which is when Brian's family said he went missing, he was seen leaving his house by police.
By police?
Yes, because they were surveilling the home at the time.
Oh, wow.
Because they started their surveillance on the 13th, which is when his parents are like, well, that's when he went missing. So they were watching the home, watched him leave, and then noticed that his car came back and was like at the house like that later that night or the next day. Or no, his car was returned on the 15th. So he was the 13th.
He's essentially gone for 2 days.
Yeah, but so
and then
his car
returns. Yeah.
But they're like, but he's not here.
Yeah, so it's not like they saw him pull in and then like walk back into his house. They just come back and they're like, "Oh shit, his car's back," but they don't see him anywhere.
Yeah, but I think the thing I question is why didn't someone like follow him or like keep tabs on him if he was a person of interest in a situation where it's him and his fiance together alone and she disappeared.
Yeah, and that's why I was so surprised and like I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Him?
Yeah, you were like the police, and I'm like, wait, the police? The police saw him leave?
They saw him leave.
They weren't interested. Yeah, and then it was like you even said like, yeah, they were surveilling the home. It's not like it just happened to be a random squad car passing by and
they were watching the home and he left.
Yeah, they're actively watching him and just watched him drive away.
Nobody followed him. Nobody like kept tabs on him or anything. So then like they're like, oh, his car's here, and then he was reported as missing, and they're like, oh, we thought he was still here though.
It's kind of like when you go on vacation, you ask a neighbor to watch your house. You come home after a week and it's like burned down, and you're like, guys, what the fuck? And they're like, you're supposed to watch it. And they're like, yeah, we watched it. We watched it burn all the way. Well, look, you're supposed to. Yeah, what the fuck? Well, you didn't say to do anything. You just said keep an eye on it.
You just said watch the house.
Yeah. Although in this case, the cops didn't keep an eye on him. They're like, you had one job.
Yeah. So then he was reported missing on the 17th. And then the next day, the 18th, police stated that they were looking for him in the Carlton Reserve in Florida, which is like a little park area there. And it is, I want to say it's more like swampy and marshy as a lot of Florida is.
So, not exactly like hiking ground. It's just sort of a preserve. It's just sort of there. It's usually not a vacation spot.
No, and I think they do have some like camping there, but I don't know how much. So I don't know if it was like, oh, maybe he went camping here. And at this point, I want to say once Gabby was reported missing up to Brian then disappearing, this is when this case really started to just become this massive fire of information and misinformation.
Just an explosion of data that's not even necessarily data, just stuff coming out that may or may not be correct.
Yeah, a lot of people were making videos being like, oh, like I saw Brian here and like I had this encounter here with him and all of this.
Oh, wow.
There was one, I think the few that stuck out to me was there was one where this girl and her boyfriend picked him up as a hitchhiker.
Oh, shit.
And they were going to, I'm trying to remember where they were exactly, but they're like, oh, he's like, hey, like, I need a ride to Jackson. Can you take me there? And they're like, yeah, like, we'll take you. And then was really confused about where they were going like a half hour in and was like, no, I need to go the other way. So he like made them pull over and like got out of his car in like this other camping lot and like, I guess catched a ride with someone else. It was just kind of weird. And they're like, we don't, like, we told him where we were going. We told him multiple times which direction we were moving in. And we're like, no, this is the way. And he's like, no, impossible. I have to get out of this car. Like,
I said Jackson. Yeah, that's where we're going. It's the other way. I meant another Jackson.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
Well, goodbye then.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Do they know? Like, because if his car was back but he was gone, do they know he had to have, or someone brought his car back, or he came back home and then hitchhiked somewhere?
I honestly am not sure because I'm not sure what day it was that they like picked him up, so I don't know where within this timeline it was, whether it was him in Florida or him up in, because I want to say this may have been up in Wyoming, so this could have been end of August.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
So it's the timeline with the information from the internet is a little bit muddled, so it's
and I suppose if we had all those details, it wouldn't be such a mystery.
Yes. And I think the other one that really stuck out to me was someone talking about how they were like filming for part of their drive, and they were in the Grand Tetons National Park, and they passed by a white van just kind of like off the side, kind of secluded in this area, and there's this huge open field like to the right of it, and they're like, oh, like there's nobody there, because they were like, oh, like we haven't seen anyone in a while, like let's like chat and say hi, like, and they're like, oh, well, like the door to their van is open, but like no one's here. That's kind of weird.
That's
and
creepy.
They were kind of more like uneasy about it, so they're like, yeah, let's maybe not stick around. And then later we're like, oh, that looks a lot like Gabby's van that we passed.
Yeah.
Versus just someone, like just a regular van of someone camping. And then based off of like the location they were at, they're like, this doesn't sit well with me.
Maybe we should contact somebody.
Yes. So with everything just starting to really spread around, Dog the Bounty Hunter actually started looking for Brian as he was missing.
Shut up. First of all, he's still around?
Yes.
Dog the Bounty? Does he still have a TV show?
I think so. I'm like pretty sure he still has a show.
Not to be disrespectful, I assumed he was dead. I thought that he was just...
I mean,
like,
given his line of work, that would not have been surprising.
Well, and he just seemed like a hard rocking, hard drinking, hard eating kind of dude. And again, his line of work, I'm good for him. I really did not expect his name to pop up in this story.
Yeah. So with a lot of this stuff just kind of started spiraling like out of control in a way with the amount of information.
Yeah.
And it started catching on when Gabby was first reported missing, because I myself do remember seeing that and being like, oh, like this poor girl, like she's missing, like that's so horrible. Like, I hope they find her. I hope she's okay. And then kind of like hearing more about it and then being like, wait, her fiance was now missing and they were camping alone together.
Yeah, that's the part that, because I remember you bringing up this whole story before we even talked about it. And I had very little information about it, but I did remember seeing those stories kind of come out like in relatively quick succession. Like I remembered hearing about someone going missing and then just briefly later being like, oh, and now her fiance is gone. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with these people?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. And my roommate and I were like talking about how weird their timeline was and like the information that he was saying versus like what they were saying, because they're like, oh, like I came from Yosemite, and it's like, well, we were in Yosemite on the 30th and I was back by the 1st. It is so far from Yosemite to Florida.
That's a long drive.
It is 48 hours. So it is not impossible if he started very early on the 30th to get there like right at the end of the 1st. But it is a very long drive.
Pretty damn impossible. Especially like you said, like it's a 48-hour drive. So even if he stops to sleep for a couple hours, he's still gonna miss it. Like he can sleep the absolute bare minimum. So it's like, who the hell is going to be driving for 48 hours straight? Yeah.
So then with that, just in general, they're like, there's no way they went to Yosemite. Like, it makes so much more sense that they were in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Because A, it was close to where they were in Salt Lake. And B, like, you can get from Yellowstone to Florida a whole lot faster. I did not end up looking up what the time was for that one, but it is significantly shorter. I want to say maybe it's closer to probably 27 hours or something like that versus...
Well, and isn't Yellowstone multiple states? Like, isn't it a pretty large... Yeah, and Yosemite is specifically in like mid to northern Montana, isn't it?
So Yosemite is in California, and then being in Yellowstone... It makes more sense to be there.
Okay.
just since Yellowstone is in the Wyoming, Idaho, Montana
Right,
corner.
right.
So there just seemed to be things that didn't add up. And a lot of people were theorizing that his parents had something to do with it, with him like now missing, or that like they were protecting him in some way, that him being missing was like, oh, we don't know where he is, but like they actually do.
Right. They told him to hit the road, like, get out of here. We don't want to see you in jail. And then when people come asking, they're like, we don't know.
I don't know, which
he's missing. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I understand to a degree that like as a parent, you want to protect your kid, you want to do all of that, but where's the line?
Right.
Where is it?
I guess I can kind of see they're likely even just blinded by, familial ties that like they just don't even believe he had anything suspected of. I feel like the better play would be to just confront it, and if he's innocent, then he's innocent. There you go.
Yeah. I have so many mixed feelings about it because it's like, if I was in that situation, like, would I protect my kid, or would I be the parent that's like, no, like, let's tackle this.
Yeah.
And like, let's prove that you were innocent.
Right. I think I would be tempted to be like, no, we're going to go talk to the cops, because if you had nothing to do with it, then we got nothing to worry about.
You got nothing to hide. Yeah.
That being said, with the understanding that, we don't have a perfect justice system and innocent people do get put in jail. So
yeah.
I can see how you might think of it as taking a gamble, but if you believe in your kid and that they're innocent, then you would think that they would want to take the high ground and just tackle it head on.
Yeah. So on September 19th, they did unfortunately find remains that fit Gabby's description in the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. So it's like right on the Wyoming-Idaho border.
Okay.
And that is where people said they saw Gabby's van, where it was parked next to like a huge clearing. And it was later confirmed, I want to say it was maybe 3 to 4 days it took, which is like relatively fast to do an autopsy, that it was in fact Gabby, and her manner of death was homicide through blunt force trauma to the head and with head and neck, and manual strangulation, which is a very personal crime to just strangle someone with your bare hands.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that pretty much screams like a crime of intense emotion and passion, and just like, it's like you said, it's very personal, it's very intimate, and it also makes you wonder, like, if that was a fit of rage, or if he sort of like temporarily lost his mind and he wanted to send a message of some kind to her family or just people in general. It's so weird.
I honestly don't know. Just
well, we'll probably never know.
Yeah, it is something that is so personal and so, I think, intense, but I feel like it does come from a place of like really deep-seated anger.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
And I think too, the type of rage and anger that isn't even directed specifically at a person. Like in the moment, it was maybe something set him off, and she happened to be the object there, but it wasn't even like he was necessarily angry at her. It's like that just screams of someone who has pretty deep issues and could use some serious counseling.
Unfortunately, yeah. And I think just the fact that he also hit her upside the head with something, which either could have been to like get her attention, or in some way to then like incapacitate her to like make it easier to strangle her maybe, or if he did it because he was mad and like got her attention and then like he strangled her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe that even indicates some level of premeditation because he like just on some level maybe like that he knew it would be easier like for whatever reason his goal was to strangle her, but he knew that incapacitating her beforehand would make that easier, which is even more creepy. Oh.
And not only that, but I think the location of it too, because where people saw their van, it was kind of off the beaten path a bit, and like you didn't really run into people. Right. So I don't think that was by chance. I think that was a deliberate choice.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree.
We could speculate all day long.
Right. Very true. Very true.
Only one who knows was him. So, and Gabby, I guess. So then on September 23rd, which I believe that may have been the same day they released the results of her autopsy, the District Court of Wyoming issued an arrest warrant for Brian for unauthorized use of her debit card for over $1,000 between August 30th and September 1st.
Well, he had to get all that gas to blast home.
Yeah.
Probably not $1,000.
Have the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, $1,000 is a lot. But
it's a lot of gas.
Yeah. That would be a lot of gas to buy, damn. But either way, he took her debit card and was using it without her authorization, which I'm not sure if the purchases were made between that time or if that's just like when the charges hit her account.
Right.
Is it, if it was like the weekend, it's a little iffier.
Mm-hmm.
So during this time, the FBI actually had a warrant for getting DNA material in some capacity from Brian's home. So they then got a warrant where they could go inside and like they could take like hair from his hairbrush and like stuff like that and create like a DNA profile and do DNA matching with evidence they found on Gabby's body. I don't know if there was much. But yeah, they weren't sure if it was her at first.
Oh, right. Yeah. But so they find some kind of trace elements of some like foreign DNA on her somewhere. And they're like, well, we need to match this. The last person we know she was with was him. So
we got to match it. Yeah. Then on October 5th, Brian is still missing at this point.
Jeez.
His sister did an interview with ABC News and she was begging him to turn himself into authorities and in a way begging him to like come home, being like, hey, just turn yourself in. It's going to be okay, but like you need to do the right thing. And there was some controversy with his sister as people are like, well, like she like knew he was there. And I'm like, well, just because he's home, it doesn't necessarily mean that she knows why Gabby wasn't there.
Right.
Like, he could have said, oh, we had a big fight. And he was telling them, like, at one point, I didn't want to say this may have been, like, right when he got back. And they're like, well, where's Gabby? And he's like, well, I don't know. Like, he also said they weren't fiancés anymore. But they were. God. So stuff just got like a little weird. And at this point, people started posting signs with Gabby's face on it in the Laundrie's yard because they're like, his parents know something and they're not, the family's not cooperating with the police. Like they're being super unhelpful. Like they're not trying to help solve this. So they put signs with her face on it in their yard being like, why won't you help me? Like, I was going to be part of your family. Why have you turned your back on me? Like,
jeez.
Would you treat your family this way type of messaging? And I'm like, that's like really intense. Like, damn. Jesus.
All the facts aren't in yet, folks. Let's calm down. Let's let justice take its course. Come on.
They were trying to like guilt his parents into saying something, but I mean,
right.
I don't fault his parents into hiring a lawyer. Like, you have to protect yourself, like regardless of whether you're innocent or not. And
yeah,
it's smart
I think
to have
that's
a lawyer.
something.
Just because you have one, you're not guilty.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think that's something that has been unfortunately very badly stigmatized in our justice system. Like, as much as it's not perfect, regardless of the circumstances and regardless of your involvement in anything, you still deserve protection and defense. Like,
Yeah.
if stuff, they might not have even thought to get a lawyer. People were telling them, like, this is some bad shit, you should get a lawyer. And that is the best advice. Like, if you talk to any lawyer, the one thing they'll say is, like, even if you're innocent, don't talk to the cops, get a lawyer. Like, just get a lawyer. That's what you should do. That should be step number one. They might not have had any idea what was happening.
Especially in situations where you are interrogated by the police for hours and hours. Like, you need a lawyer. There comes a point where, like, you need a lawyer because you've been sitting in an interrogation room for 22 hours and you're exhausted. They're, like, grilling into you about the same thing and you just don't understand, like, why am I here? You need a lawyer.
Yeah, it's that point when you're like, absolutely. Yeah, and it's at that point where, like, you haven't been fed, you're barely getting any, like, breaks or you know, water or anything. It's like, you should get a lawyer, get out of there and regroup.
Yeah.
So, just get back to sanity, because I mean, we all know how we've all seen stuff about false confessions and everything, and it's like it just takes a psychological toll on you at a certain point.
It does.
So you start believing things that aren't real.
Yeah, so I absolutely do not fault anyone for getting a lawyer ever.
Right, yeah.
Just because it is important to protect yourself. No, and it looks sketchy. It does, just considering how it's like, oh, well, then he got a lawyer, and it's like, well, then they were the one who did it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even in TV shows, even in TV shows, they have a tendency to, like, you're watching a Law and Order episode, and it's that point when, you know, assuming that they are guilty, the character, like the assailant, whatever, is still being cocky, so they come in to talk to the cops, and you can tell that the cops are, like, leading them towards a certain thing, and it's at that point when you expect them to admit guilt, they're like, I want to talk to my lawyer. And they always use that as, like, an accentuation of the scene to be like, we got him. He lawyered up. That means we got him. And it's like, maybe we shouldn't be using that as, like, a story thing anymore, because it's everyone's right. We should be getting people lawyers more often.
We really should. And I will say, that being said, they were being super uncooperative with the police. Like, they gave them pushback for every single thing. Like, they would not talk to them, would not do anything, which if your lawyer's telling you to do that, that's fine and dandy. Do what your lawyer says.
Right.
But, like, the public perception is that there is guilt.
Right. Yeah. It's also unfortunate that it seems like what tends to be the better legal strategy also usually makes you look guilty. Yeah. Don't talk to the cops. Don't provide. Yeah. Especially don't talk to them without us there. Don't talk to the press. And it's like, what people want to see is an outpouring of emotion from these parents who one would assume are going to be really distressed and distraught. And their lawyers are probably telling them, don't say anything. Don't leave your homes. Don't go. Yeah. Then the public perception is that they're guilty as hell.
Mm-hmm. Then on October 7th, Brian's father helped in search efforts in the Carlton Reserve, which I believe was the first time his family actually helped in searching for him.
Oh, wow.
I could be wrong on that, but that was the only time I saw where his family was, like, his parents specifically. Like, I believe his sister was out searching for him, like, the whole time, but his parents more specifically, this, I believe, was the first time they actually helped. Which is weird. I was going to say,
that definitely comes across more sketchy than even the lawyer thing. Like, I'm sure he'll be back. Are you sure you don't want to help us search a little bit? I'm sure he's fine. Everything's cool. No, Dad, we should really go search for him. All right, we'll go once.
Yeah, so he focused on areas where Brian used to frequent and like where he knew he would go in the reserve. And it was at this point people started thinking that Brian will not be found until he wants to be found, because like he knew how to survive outdoors. He knew how to like find shelter and food. This wasn't something that was new to him.
Oh,
so they're
okay.
like, if like he's an outdoors guy, he's camping all the time, like he knows how to survive. He's not going to be found until he wants to, especially in an area like this that is harder to navigate and is marshy and somewhat woodsy and just, maybe not frequented everywhere.
Right, especially if it's a place that he is used to going, but presumably a large search party is not. So yeah, he's going to be able to stay ahead of them if he wants to.
Yes. That was the thought at the time anyway. Then on October 20th, his skeletal remains and some of his belongings were found in the Micahachie Creek Environmental Park. And it's about 20 minutes away from like where they were looking by car. So it wasn't super far, but not entirely where they were looking to begin with.
Yeah.
And it was an area that was underwater due to flooding. So they couldn't necessarily search it either. And they could not determine his cause of death. There was speculation that maybe he was eaten by something, or that at least some sort of animal, probably a gator, came in and snatched him later.
Right. I keep forgetting that this is like in the Florida area. I have, whenever we talk about being, a gator. Yeah, whenever we talk about like being lost in the woods and stuff, I can't help but think of like northern Minnesota where we go hunting, and it's all crappy, just swampy marshlands and stuff. But I forgot it. At least Minnesota doesn't have giant gators. I mean, we have bears, but gators will get you.
Yeah, I always think of here where it's like drier, more arid, but you have bears and large cats.
Yeah, yeah, Minnesota doesn't have a lot of large cats. Yeah, oh yeah, and they're quick.
They'll jump down from the trees.
Oh my God, not to get on too much of a tangent, but have you seen that? I think it's a TikTok or something, but a guy who encounters like a mountain lion when he's biking or hiking, and it is following him on the trail, and it like keeps jumping at him and attacking, and he's like, "Go away!"
Yes, it was in Utah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it was
the rock at it.
And it's so intense, and I'm like,
of that?
Yeah, it goes on forever. And I'm like, I kind of have to hand it to the guy for not running, like, because that's usually
that would have killed him. The running
exactly.
Would have killed him.
Yep. A predatory creature tends to want the prey to run, and he very slowly walks away and is trying to be intimidating. And I do like that he throws rocks and shit. And it's like, God damn, that mountain lion was really not liking his presence there.
Well, part of it was her babies were nearby.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what I was thinking too, is like, I know he's not moving very fast, but I figured that, or maybe the babies were kind of following their mom or something. I figured she had sort of a den somewhere and she was trying to chase him off. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I'm leaving. I don't want your babies. Let me go. And the mountain lion just keeps following him. It's so intense. That's one of the most nerve-wracking things I think I've ever watched in a long time.
Oh, it made my palms sweat.
Yeah, it was ugh.
Yeah. It was later determined that he did die from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
Right.
In the manner of suicide. So, and they found that out on November 23rd. So it took them over a month to get that figured out.
Yeah, so for a while they weren't sure what was going on. They thought he might have just died to exposure or a creature of some sort. I can imagine that being quite a case-changing moment when they're like, he's got a bullet wound in his head. They're like,
Yeah.
we thought he was just running, like, for the sake of running and maybe just scared of being found out. But they're like, this kind of changes things. And it, like, especially if it's presumed to be suicide.
Yeah. And it is very possible that after shooting himself, he was eaten by animals. Because, I mean, free food.
Right.
Essentially.
Yeah, that does tend to happen.
It does.
Mother Nature rarely lets things go to waste.
Yeah. Then on January 21st, so about 2 months after they were like, we actually know what he died from, the FBI released information that was in his notebook, which was in the bag with his other stuff. Which I think was like a few things for camping gear and like not really a ton of stuff. Like it did not look like he went to go camping. He went with like very minimal things. And in the notebook, he admitted to killing Gabby and deceiving her family through text messages, making them she was still alive. Ugh. It did not say how far back, but I am assuming going back to after she spoke on the phone with her parents, it could have been as soon as like that evening or the next day. And he was officially blamed for her death, and the overall case was considered a murder. And I believe it was at that point then closed because they knew the manner of death, they knew who did it, and they could actually assign blame.
Right. They're like, we know everything, and we're calling it closed. We're done.
Calling it a day. Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. The Laundrie's family lawyer later released more text from the notebook and kind of more the nitty-gritty details, in which he did state that Gabby had fallen and injured herself, and that he says in quotes here, "I ended her life. I thought it was merciful. That is what she had wanted, but I now see the mistake I made." Which they weren't far from a road, just to begin with, like where the van was. It was off of a road. It wasn't like down this beaten path. It was on like the main road, but it wasn't like a super populated area.
Yeah.
And the couple that did pass the van, upon hearing this later, were like, oh my God, he could have been in that field, like right off to the side, killing her as we had like passed by, or like shortly after. Like, that's horrible. And I want to say, because I did actually look this up because I was very curious. They were maybe 30 minutes away from a clinic where they could get help.
Oh my God.
So,
which is pretty rare in remote country like that. So it's like they had an opportunity.
They had a clinic in the Tetons, which is where they were. That was about 30 minutes from where their van was, roughly. And depending on what kind of injury she had, like, I don't know what kind of injury would have been so life-threatening at that moment that was the better option.
Right.
Like, that does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
And
bad choices all around.
Yeah, I mean, unless him seeing her as herself was him beating her with something.
Right.
I mean, like, oh, she's too far gone now. Oh no.
Oh no. Those injuries that I gave her is
those are really extreme, but like I'm thinking like she twisted her ankle and was like upset about it, and he's like, I can't fucking take this type of thing. That is my perception. She twists her ankle, like maybe she breaks it, she's in pain, and like they have to go hike back to the car like 20 minutes. And like, God forbid. And
he's treating her like a horse on the range.
He's like, I gotta put you down.
Exactly. Sorry, girl, yeah.
Yeah, it's... Ugh. I don't entirely know in that area what sort of injury she could have had that she could not have been able to get help within that 30 minutes.
Right.
Like, I feel like it'd have to be some real crazy extreme thing, but I'm also wondering if like they would have found that in the autopsy.
That's what I was thinking, because I was thinking like it's not uncommon to like trip and twist an ankle, sprain something, break a leg, and you just can't get out, and so then you essentially die to exposure just because you can't get yourself anywhere. Or she tripped and just happened to like jab her throat on a rock, or like in her thigh and hit an artery and she bleeds out in like 5 minutes. But that is likely something they would have discovered in an autopsy.
Yeah.
And they seem pretty definitively sure that they're like, yeah, no, she died of strangulation.
Yeah. And I want to say a lot of that is because even though they couldn't fully identify her until later, most of her body was in fact intact. So it wasn't like Finding Brian where he's skeletal remains and they have to use like dental records to like try to find DNA and find a match.
Yeah. They're like, no, we're pretty sure it's her.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that was the ending for Gabby, was that she was murdered by her fiance in the Tetons. And there was a lot of criticism around Gabby's case, especially with the misinformation and just how some things were helpful, but a lot of it was kind of more harmful in a way because it spread a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
Which that's why I chose to not cover it until now, was just because there was so much happening. I'm like, I can't keep this straight. It's too much.
Right.
And then the other being that a lot of people saw this as a case of missing white woman syndrome, where people only care because she's white and a woman, but because she's white. And that kind of does go back to our case we did previously with Alyssa McLemore and how there's a huge underreported population of Indigenous women and women of color missing.
Yeah. I was thinking of the woman from the Cabrini Green in Chicago and the Candyman stories, when I think it was the Candyman stories. There was a guy who was like coming into her apartment behind the mirror.
From the mirror.
And it's like the cops were called, I think, multiple times, and they just didn't want to go there.
They didn't go over there. Episode 3, if anyone is interested.
Ooh, good pull. Nice.
I think it's episode 3. It might be episode 2. It's one of the first few. I
was gonna say, it's one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, it is one of our first few episodes. I can tell you that for sure. And it is one of those things that at that time I'm like, I wish we had this for every case and not just for white people.
Yeah.
And I feel like you see this a lot more with white women over white men, even, that like because they're white and a woman, it's like a bigger deal than if like a white man goes missing.
Yeah, I could see that.
And
the idea of like a dude is like men go missing all the time. They kill each other. But if a white woman goes missing,
oh no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does seem to be an unfortunate sort of way that the news cycle works.
Yeah, but regardless, what happened to Gabby is extremely unfortunate, and there is speculation that it could have been prevented or that steps could have done to either help quicker or even just not let it happen in the first place. Like, maybe the Moab police could have done more. Like, maybe the people at the co-op could have helped more versus like just kind of being like, oh, I don't want to get involved or things like that, which I will say getting involved in any sort of domestic situation is very tricky.
Absolutely. And it's always, there's kind of a thing too of like, well, you're not going to be expecting it to result in someone's death. You're thinking that's their personal stuff. They'll work it out. Yeah. They're either going to like patch things up or
they're gonna
or
break up.
split
Like, oh
up.
no.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you're not expecting the end result to be not even one of them dying, but then they both end up dead. I don't think anyone's
Yeah, I don't think
thinking
anyone
of that as an
expected
end
that,
result.
no.
Yeah.
And Gabby's parents are currently in a lawsuit with Brian's parents. I don't have any other information on that. I don't know if it is for wrongful death or what it's for exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that that is happening and that they will hopefully find some sort of justice. And I will say that in light of that, if anyone is wanting to help with the fight of missing people, look for ways to help with like your local Crime Stoppers, or look at other organizations that fight against missing people, whether that is something like Native Women's Wilderness Project or like anything like that. I don't have any that I'm specifically tied to or like have any feelings about, so I'm gonna just say if you listeners would like to get involved, please look into it.
Yeah, and in relation to that, like, not that this is necessarily related, but I know that there's still a huge backlog of like rape kits being tested and everything, and that's a huge problem across the entire country. Like, if there's any way that you can help fund or even assist with that, definitely look into it, because it's
absolutely
seems like there's almost too much of like organizations across the country that need help in that kind of.
Yeah, I wish they could be a little more united in a way, but I also understand that like having one large organization doesn't necessarily solve the problem.
Right. And we're still coming off of, I'm still kind of amazed that we have like sheriffs versus city and like local cops, because it's like, do we really need that much of a separation of things in like such a local setting? I remember growing up as a kid and thinking it was just weird that there was like a sheriff's department, there was like a city police department, and then there's like a national organization like the FBI, CIA. Like, we have so many divisions of law enforcement. I always thought that was weird. But anyway.
Well, like, not only that, but you have like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and each state has their own. So like,
oh, you're right.
I know Georgia has the GBI, Colorado has the CBI, and I don't know if they're called the MBI in Minnesota or if someone else beat you to it. I don't know. But like each state has their own like state Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah.
And not everyone talks to each other, which is, I think, kind of the harder part, which that has been addressed more, especially from older cases and like the Golden State Killer, the Night Stalker, those cases where they took advantage of the fact that the different police sections didn't talk to each other, that they got away with it.
Yeah, and it's weird to think, too, that it was that well known. Although, I think, was the Golden State Killer actually a cop? Like, he was
a cop at a point, which was why he was able to, like, stay ahead of it for as long as he did. But then he got caught, like, stealing stuff from the precinct, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'll just, like, I'll put in my resignation right now, no questions asked. And they're like, okay. Like, you could have stopped him, like, right there.
Yeah.
You had his DNA.
It is so weird to think that it just took that long. And that he knew exactly how they weren't communicating, and so he knew how to get like through the cracks, essentially.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he didn't even have to try that hard.
No.
Like, it was just that easy. He just had to take certain steps and like change up his location enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to share this profile with you real quick.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And this is from Real Life Villains, mirrorhaze.org, which was one of our sources. See, they got his little bio like right up here. So like it talks about them like working at the grocery store together, which we said in part 1. But this is my favorite, is it's a photo of him on the right.
I like his
It
picture.
says full name, Brian Christopher Laundrie. Occupation, juice bar cashier, former. Publix grocery store attendant, former. Goals, killing Gabby Petito and getting away with it successfully. He has goals.
God.
And then it lists his crimes as murder, domestic abuse, psychological abuse, and then debit card fraud.
I feel like the debit card fraud.
And then the type of villain. And I think goals and type of villain are my favorite. And his type of villain is abusive murderer.
Abusive murderer. Oh, man.
I got a kick out of this, so I had to share it.
And I feel like it's not really a knock on this website in particular, because I can't help feeling like the kind of default thing to do would be use like a prison photo or something, but obviously he didn't have one.
Like a regular photo.
Yeah, so it looks like a what do you call it? In
real life villains. Let's see.
What's the business? What's the business like? LinkedIn. This looks like a LinkedIn profile, and he's got his like pickup there.
Real life villains Wikipedia or Wiki.
Wow.
They have their homepage is Welcome to Real Life Villains, a spinoff of Villains Wiki, and they have a Hall of Shame. Oh, see, their other ones are just like regular photos. Notable villain. Hitler, number 1.
Well, again, they probably don't have a whole lot of like.
And Mussolini.
And Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Well, they don't usually have like Jesus. Booking photos.
I love that.
That's pretty great. It also makes me want to visit Villain's website, because it makes me think that they have like comic book villains up there and stuff. That's fun.
I know. I like want to check it out more just because I think it's very funny. So that is everything on my end for our story. Do we have ratings for our pairings?
I'm gonna go with a 5 for the Monster Bomb. I didn't do the traditional way of like measuring out a shot and then dropping it into the glass and everything. It's a little bit messy.
I didn't do that either.
I do remember really liking them in college. I didn't like it as much now. There again, I also didn't use Red Bull, but what are you gonna do? It's definitely not something that I would just want to drink on a like regularly. It's a Yag bomb. I mean, what can you say? It was chosen specifically for this episode. My original like theme I was gonna go with was toxicity, just like a toxic person. Yeah. Like, what is more toxic? Like, you have people who like tequila, you have people who like vodka, you have people who like brown liquors, whiskeys, scotch, bourbons. I'm a brandy person myself. But what do almost everybody? Yeah, almost everyone agrees that Jägermeister is nothing, just toxic stuff in a bottle that you have to either mix or shoot. And so that was kind of what I was going with before. Absolutely. Yeah. And then I was thinking about like an energy drink I would mix it. Then I kind of went with the Monster thing. But yeah, Jägermeister, I mean, it is just so unique in the world of alcohol, and it is not an everyday treat. So I will give it a 5. The cookies were excellent. I'm gonna give the cookies a 9. Again, I ended up not getting monster cookies, but they were just perfect for today. It's a little bit cloudy where I'm at. I'm getting in the Halloween mood. It was a combination of sugar cookies and chocolate chip cookies. Just excellent. Are you looking outside?
Yeah. I was looking outside because it's just all sun.
Oh wow!
All sun, death by sunshine.
Yeah, aren't you like basically in the sunniest place in the country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much sunshine. Sick of it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love living here. It's just I like the rain. I like stormy weather.
Yeah. Yeah. That
I
was
would give
the
cookies. I'd give them an 8, just because I feel like they're good and I like them, but they could be better. But I mean, what do I expect from like store-bought cookies, really?
Yeah,
unless I'm making them myself.
Yeah, well, that was when I told Lily what I was planning on. And I literally went to the store like an hour and a half before we were going to record. She's like,
That's
"You're
what I
not
did.
making." Yeah. She's like, "Are you going to make monster cookies?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going to go see if I can buy some because I'm not going to do that shit."
I'm not baking right now.
Right,
Yeah.
and she's like, "They're kind of complicated. Usually, like traditionally, they just have a bunch of everything. So there's a little bit of oatmeal, there's a little bit of like regular sugar cookie, chocolate chips, M&M pieces, walnuts, all sorts of shit." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
No, just keeping it simple.
Yeah,
And
sorry, listeners. I do mean to do more like actual unique treats and stuff, but sometimes you just want to go to the store and have someone make you something, you know?
yeah, you want it to be easy.
Yeah.
And I probably give the drink about a 5. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like really seek it out a ton.
No. In fact, in a weird way, I think I actually like Jägermeister just on its own, which is not a common thing, but we had it at a up until this anecdote I'm about to launch into, I've only ever had it with like as a Jäg bomb. And at a buddy's wedding years ago, I don't know if it's a family tradition. I don't know if it was a tradition he had with some of his other friends, but before the wedding actually started, we all took a pull off of a giant bottle of Jägermeister. And I was surprised at how much I liked it, just straight. And then after the wedding, we hit the reception and stuff. Few beers deep, we congregated out behind the venue again, and we started taking more pulls off of the bottle until it was empty. Do not recommend that. It was a rough night. But I was surprised at how I was surprised at how much I liked it just by itself. I think it's just such a unique flavor. It's weird.
It is.
But yeah, anyway. That is the episode this week. Speaking of like stuff, if you have any recommendations you would like to send us, please email us at peculiarpairingspod@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at peculiarpairpod or on Instagram at peculiarpairingspod. And be sure to look us up on Patreon.
Yes, we're hoping to get some new content onto Patreon for everyone, and we're hoping to start building a community there. So if you want to be a part of it, join us. And I think until next week, that's all that I have for you. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Goodbye.
Goodbye.